Well, hey, it's Rob again, and yes, Michael Jackson's Dangerous album would have been a very different album if they had just stopped a year into the project, put everything together that they had, and put the thing out. I'd argue that it's a better record. I don't think the record improved by working on it for another year, adding another producer, which was Teddy Riley, changed the whole flavor of the record. Now, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Anyway, so I have a very unique perspective here because I did work at the recording studio where Michael Jackson recorded Dangerous. If you're new to my channel, and most people that watch my videos are, I have very few subscribers that will, come back and watch, consecutive videos from me. So if you're new, I did work in the studio where Michael was recording Dangerous. My job was stupid. It was not important or significant. I was called a studio runner. I got lunch. I was the guy that, once in a while maybe got to set up a microphone stand or something, but mostly I answered the phones. I went on errands, picked up, their meals, and sometimes I'd pick up equipment or tapes or move things back and forth between different studios. That's about it. Nothing very glamorous. But anyway, I've told this story before. I have a unique perspective because Michael did something, and I've tried to keep it on the down low at times in my life. Other times in life, I've mentioned it in videos, and I had a whole video about this specific incident. I deleted it. I didn't want the attention. I guess now I'm going to put it out there again. It's not a big deal. Nothing I have is unique or, that, anything I'm in possession of is something that, other people don't have, that millions of people that by this point, haven't heard or anything. Everything I have has been leaked out, so I don't own anything unique or significant. But what I do have is a copy of what Dangerous would have been, let's say Dangerous 1990 versus Dangerous 1991. Why do I have this? Well, there was a big meeting. I'm going to say it's at the end of 1990. I really don't know the timing, but let's just say that's about when it was. Maybe close to, a year into the project, 10 months, something like that. When all the Sony executives, the bigwigs from the record company came out because they wanted to see what they were spending their millions of dollars on. And we had assembled, a mix of different songs that we were working on that was representative of what Dangerous would have been had it come out in 1990 instead of 1991. This was pretty much before Teddy Riley had even got involved, I believe. And, or maybe he was just, on the scene, but hadn't done too much. I don't remember exactly the timing of that. But anyway, they came by. This was a big deal at the studio. We had been working and preparing and getting the studio ready and making this, master tape from all these different songs, like a mixtape basically of what Dangerous, would sound like, at that, time when they had this, meeting with the head honchos of Sony. And so what Michael wanted to do was listen to these songs in different environments. So we would listen in the studio. We might listen on a boombox in, the living room of the studio. The studio was kind of set up like a house. It had a living room. It had a fireplace. Like you could, eat around a dining room table there at the studio. There were couches, whatever. It really was set up. It, kind of looked just like a house. They happened to have studios attached to it. Anyway, so we would listen in these different environments. And one of the places he decided to listen was inside my 1984 Volkswagen Rabbit GTI. I had an Alpine cassette deck. I had two boxes that I mounted 6x9 speakers that I Velcroed to the hatchback of the VW. I had probably two front speakers. And so I had a system. It wasn't much. But he wanted to kind of hear in these different environments, so he probably listened in his car, and he listened in the engineer's car. And I think Bruce Swedien had a special car. I think maybe they both had GMC Jimmys, like four-wheel drive, SUVs of the time. I don't exactly remember what Bruce drove, but I think he had one with an excellent sounding stereo, a very expensive, state-of-the-art stereo for 1990. They listened in there. And then Michael had a cassette, and he brought it into my VW Rabbit. And we sat and we listened to a few songs inside there. I mean, it's crazy to think I did this kind of stuff, but I sat in the car. He sat in there. We were only in there for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. And we, kind of fast forwarded and listened to different parts of the, mixtape that they were putting together on cassette just to hear what it was like or whatever. And then, I think someone knocked on the window, he had a phone call or something. He went in and he left the tape in my car. So I wish I had it today, but at some point I got rid of all my tapes. So I do not have that original tape that he left in my car, sad to say. But what I do have is this. This is a mini disc player. Mini disc was a format in the 90s. It was a way to record things on a disc before we could really record onto CDs, before we had, CD-RW, whatever, rewritable CDs. It was a way to get songs, like I said, on a disc instead of a tape. And so at some point, I thought, I'm just going to transfer it to mini disc, which I did. Unfortunately, I couldn't fit all the songs on there because it was so long. This mini disc is like a CD, 74 minutes. So here it is. This is my Michael Jackson demos, 1990, 1991, 74 minutes of about the 78 minutes they sequenced together or whatever, I believe. I think it was even longer than this, so I think maybe I'm missing some songs. I think they also played some extra songs, and in my recollection, it was way too long, way longer than a CD. Anyway, so that's that. And so what I have is the list of songs that would have been on Dangerous right here at let's say the end of 1990. And I have, the final track listing of what Dangerous ended up to be in 1991. I'm going to flip around the camera and I'm going to kind of show you the layout, and we'll see what Dangerous would have been had it been released a year earlier. All right, so this is the final track listing of Dangerous as it was released in November of 1991. Started off with the song Jam, Why You Wanna Trip on Me, In the Closet, She Drives Me Wild, Remember the Time, Can't Let Her Get Away, Heal the World, Black or White, Who Is It, Give In to Me, Will You Be There, Keep the Faith, Gone Too Soon, and Dangerous. So there it is. That is the final track listing that we all know and love. But a year earlier, this is what they were thinking about. So Jam was always going to be the first track, and Jam, was the first song on the collection of what I call demos that we had from 1990. Jam, of course, is a great opener. Who worked on Jam? I think Teddy Riley eventually did, and it was Bruce Swedien mostly, I believe. And so that one, was in the starting spot on the record, all along pretty much. Second song was supposed to be In the Closet, the 1990 version, also included, of course, on the final record. In the Closet was supposed to be a demo with Madonna, and, they had a falling out. I made a whole other video about Madonna and the fact that they really did not get along, and that Madonna was too aggressive and whatever. So In the Closet became, what's her name, Princess Stephanie of Monaco's duet instead of Madonna's. That was included as well on both versions of the record. Third song, Remember the Time. So yeah, Teddy Riley, I guess, was in the mix even at this point. And Remember the Time, great song, great Teddy Riley song. She Drives Me Wild is a song that I do not like. It's all a bunch of car horns and cars speeding away, sound effects. There's not much song there. I, make no bones about the fact that I do not think it should have been included on Dangerous. And what was in the fourth spot in 1990? Someone Put Your Hand Out, which is an amazing song. Okay, it's kind of retro Michael Jackson. It's, Quiet Storm, R&B Michael Jackson or whatever, but Someone Put Your Hand Out is a wonderful song. And in 1990, that was supposed to be in the fourth spot on Dangerous, as, they sequenced it for that meeting with the Sony execs. The fifth song, Black or White, of course, Bill Bottrell's amazing song, was always going to be on the record. Just a great, production that, included all these different elements, country, the Rolling Stones almost, acoustic guitars, and Slash supposedly played a little bit on it, although I debate whether he did or not. Anyway, so he definitely was in the video. There you go. So that was the fourth song, Black or White. The fifth song, Who Is It? Another Bill Bottrell song. And that's on your final record as well. I think Teddy Riley worked on Who Is It? Did some additional production on that. What's next up? Keep the Faith. So that was always there. Keep the Faith is a wonderful song. Glad it's included. I made a whole video about how Keep the Faith had to be re-recorded because Michael couldn't sing it in the original key. You can check out all this stuff on my channel. You have to dig around, but I'm sure you will find it. All right, so Keep the Faith would have been the seventh song, or the last song on side A, I guess, if we're thinking that both of these records contained 14 songs. And again, this was not anywhere near what the final track listing would be. This was more of, hey, these are all the songs we're working on, and this is the order they're going to be presented in. But I'm just saying, if they had just pulled the plug at that point and said, stop, we're done, we love this, and this is enough, and we don't want any more music from you, this would have been Dangerous in 1990. All right, so side 2 would have started off with Gone Too Soon. Of course, that's a song about Ryan White, the early AIDS victim that Michael befriended. And that's a very nice song, a lovely song. Of course, also included on the final version of Dangerous. Next up, Dangerous itself. The version of Dangerous that I have on this disc has been widely, bootlegged and distributed, and you can certainly hear it on YouTube or wherever. It's the one where part of the studio wall falls on Michael's head, and he screams out in pain. It's a longer version. You can definitely find that on YouTube and listen to that. Dangerous, of course, is going to be included, as it was the name of the record. All right, here's an interesting choice for the, what is this, the 10th track? Yeah, Serious Effect. So Serious Effect was a Brian Loren song. Brian Loren was an early producer on Dangerous who did a lot of music for Michael, and he would have loved to have had at least one song on the final version of Dangerous. That did not happen, and he did not get any songs included ultimately on Dangerous 1991 as it was released. Serious Effect is a cool song. It's more in the Teddy Riley vein, but still more R&B as opposed to like New Jack Swing industrial type music that Teddy Riley got into on the final version of the record. So Serious Effect was still a contender in 1990. Given to me, of course, on both records. Not my favorite song. It's a Bill Bottrell song, and of course Slash does play on it. I don't think it's a very strong song. It was one of the only songs where I actually was there when it was being recorded, and I got to watch Bill record the guitar part, so that part was cool for me, but the song itself, not one of my favorites, but I don't dislike it nearly as much as I do the two Teddy Riley songs that I despise, Can't Let Her Get Away and She Drives Me Wild. I don't think those are good songs, and I think we would have been much better having some of these songs in the mix. All right, so here we are, number 12, For All Time. Again, an excellent song written by the folks from Toto. It is probably too close to one of the previous songs they wrote that ended up on Thriller, I guess. What song is it? I'm trying to think of this. Human Nature. So it's similar, probably too similar to Human Nature, but a very nice song on its own. And, sadly, it just didn't make the cut. I kind of understand why, but back in 1990, it was still there on the list. Two more songs to go. We have this one, which is a really fun song called If You Don't Love Me. This is an up-tempo rock and roll song, more similar to Black or White than anything else on the record. It's kind of almost a 50-sounding doo-wop song, sort of. And, I can see why they didn't include it. It is, a really fun, up-tempo, cool song, but kind of repetitive and, just at the end of the day, probably not up to the quality that other songs on Dangerous, as far as their songwriting and that kind of stuff had. And anyway, but it's fun to see on this list. And, I am sentimental about it because I used to hear it all the time. And I think it's a really cool, fun song. Finally, Monkey Business, which didn't even make it on my mini disc. I had to cut it off because I just didn't have enough room. But I do remember Monkey Business was also included. And Monkey Business was, I believe, a Bill Bottrell song, and I think maybe Teddy Riley did some work on it. They made fun of Michael about the monkeys and all that kind of stuff, so I can kind of see why, all right, they, decided that, hey, we're not going to do any songs about monkeys and just invite people to poke more fun at Michael, but this is it. So this would have been Dangerous, 1990. Well, hey, if you stuck around, for this long, thank you so much for watching. I like sharing this kind of stuff. Like I said, it's a unique perspective that I have just as a person who was there, but I was an outsider. I was not in the studio where the music was being recorded behind the closed doors very often, if at all. But I was around enough to know what was going on, to, see the politics behind the record, and I've discussed all that stuff in many videos I've made about Dangerous. But I thought it would be fun to show just what Dangerous would have looked like had it been released in 1990, had it been, put out basically after that meeting they had with Sony, and had another year not, transpired after that, where so many more Teddy Riley songs ended up being on the record, and so many of these cool songs, like especially Someone Put Your Hand Out, which everybody loves, For All Time. I don't know, songs like that, I guess, that just are excellent, high-quality songs. You can find all these things. They've all been leaked out. Like I said, I don't think I have anything that's unique. If I do, it is, such a minor difference between what I have and what someone else, has leaked out that most people would, never know the difference or whatever. I certainly don't. And whatever. So I take my little mini disc and I put it back in my safe after this. And maybe I won't talk about it for a few more years. But anyway, that's it. So thank you for watching. And if I think of anything else to talk about, relating to MJ, I'll pop back on again at some point. You never know. I'm like a bad penny. I keep showing up. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.